Hi everyone, and welcome to the Daily Citizen's Weekly News Roundup. Today we'll be talking about pending legislation on the national and local level that impact everything from life to voting to what you see on social media. But first, while the media may lead you to believe otherwise, there are actually millions of Democrats who support the pro-life cause. Who are they, and why don't we hear about them more often? Well, that's a question our own Brittany Raymer set out to answer this week, and she joins me now to discuss her interview with a pro-life Democratic activist.
Thanks, Michael.
Brittany, this week you interviewed an atheist pro-life activist based in San Francisco. Give our audience a little background on that conversation.
Yes, so I wanted to reach out to Teresa Bergovnak about her role as the president of Democrats for Life and her role as well as the co-founder and executive director of Pro-Life San Francisco. And I just really wanted to speak with her as somebody who is an atheist and just has a bit of a different perspective on the pro-life cause and how she wants to engage in the pro-life movement going forward and what it means to be a Democrat within who is pro-life. And so it was a really great conversation. I really enjoyed it with her, and I'm excited to share it with you guys.
Okay, Brittany, during your discussion with Ms. Bergovnak, I understand she brought up plans to try and change the way that the Democratic Party addresses the issue of abortion. What does she have in mind?
Yes, what they really want to do is work at the grassroots level and grow some great pro-life leaders who can run for local office and then eventually grow them into the federal level as well. Unfortunately, what's happened over the last couple of years is that the Democratic Party has really worked to try to push out pro-life leaders, including Dan Lipinski. He was from Illinois. He was pushed out of the candidacy race by a pro-abortion backed candidate. And the only representative or senator left who is pro-life and a Democrat is Senator Joe Manchin. And so they really want to change that, and they're looking at the grassroots and local level to do it.
Brittany, Ms. Bergovnak lives in what many would consider to be a liberal bastion, San Francisco, an area where you'd think support for abortion would be almost unanimous. But she says that's not the case?
Yes, what she's experienced is that a lot of support across the political, ideological, and religious spectrum, and what she's really enjoyed is the process of working with these people and that discovering that the abortion issue really isn't settled. And so we'll just play a brief audio clip of her sharing that perspective.
And I found that, there's a lot of, that this issue isn't settled in San Francisco. And if it's not settled here in basically the most pro-abortion city in America, well, it's not settled anywhere.
Finally, Brittany, what encouragement does she give to Democrats out there who are feeling out of place in their own party?
What she really shared with me is her passion for changing the Democratic Party from within and having it pull back some of its radical abortion legislation and embrace a more pro-life perspective. So those that are interested in doing that can engage in an organization like Democrats for Life. And if you are a Democrat, really make your voice heard, because there are 20 million pro-life Democrats. And so if you want the party to change and if you want to see representatives really actually represent you and your pro-life perspective, vote for pro-life members and really just engage in making your voice heard within the party.
Thanks, Brittany. That's a powerful reminder that whether you are a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, or don't care about politics at all, every voice matters when it comes to the pro-life cause. Thanks for that interview, Brittany.
Yep, thank you.
I want to take this moment to remind our audience that if you know somebody out there that is a pro-life activist we should be shining a spotlight on, feel free to send us an email or leave us a comment. We'd love to talk to them. Finally, this week, there are multiple legislative items pending on the national and local level that have the potential to change life as we know it in the United States. Here to discuss the top 3 legislative issues we're covering this week is Zach Metler.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Zach. So this week, Democrats in Congress talked about their upcoming agenda, and it includes something called the For the People Act. It sounds harmless enough, but is it? What do we know about that bill?
Right, so after the impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump wraps up, Democrats plan to vote on the For the People Act, which they have also titled H.R. 1, showing that it is the first priority for Democrats this year with their newfound power. And it would do many things, including requiring states to automatically register people to vote, extending voter registration to people who are under 18, and overriding state voter ID laws so that a person could just show up to the polls, sign an affidavit saying that they are who they say they are, and then rather than showing an actual voter ID. And so if you're concerned about election integrity, if you're concerned about voter fraud, this bill should concern you.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that, and we'll keep you, our audience, updated on its progress. At the top of our broadcast, we heard about a pro-life Democrat and her efforts to change the way her party looks at abortion. The division between Democrats and Republicans on the issue of life became evident this week, Zach, and I understand you've got some more info on that as well.
Yeah, Republican Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse reintroduced his Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, which would require healthcare practitioners to give life-saving medical care to babies who are born alive after a failed abortion. So this is a pretty common sense bill, but it failed last week in the Senate, 52 to 48, garnering 2 votes from Senate Democrats along with every single Republican.
That's too bad. Finally, Zach, no matter what it is that you believe, it used to be that you could, for the most part, post whatever you thought on social media. Sadly, that's not the case anymore, as tech companies have moved to censor not only companies like ours, but everyday citizens as well. Is there any hope that free speech could return to social media?
Yeah, the Texas legislature is actually planning on introducing a bill which would empower the citizens of Texas to sue big tech companies who ban them from their platforms. And this follows on the heels of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' proposed legislation last week that would fine big tech companies $100,000 a day if they ban a candidate who is running for office during an election. And so as censorship from these big tech companies continues to ramp up and increase, and from our organization as well, this is good to see legislatures beginning to push back against this.
Well, those are important stories. Thanks, Zach. Those are the top stories our team has been covering this week. For more info on the topics you've seen covered today and breaking news, visit thedailycitizen.org. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.